Bridget Bartlett here with Vision Marketing and Design, and today we are live inside of our team training where we are live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So today what we're going to do is walk through the process of setting up your HighLevel agency account. Now, before we even dive into the account, you need to give some thought process to what your domain, how it's going to be used, okay, and what you want to actually name your website, okay, because you need a domain name for that. And I'm showing you an example here because you really need to make sure that you are giving it some thought process before you start, changing records and all of those things, okay? So I want to make sure that you understand before we get into this process how we are laying all of this out, okay? Now, first, your agency website is going to be your main root domain. Okay, that is the website where you're going to tell, everything about your business, and it's going to be the main root domain. Okay, now your agency dashboard, it really needs to be a subdomain of that root domain because you want to remain consistent with your branding all throughout. You can see here that all of these things end in myvisionagency.com, even the email address. Okay, so we're going to create a professional email address, and all of these things we're going to get set up today. Okay. So the app that they're going to log into, or the link that they're going to log into their dashboard, we are going to make that app.myvisionagency.com. Okay, the agency links, or the API, this is actually what all of the share links, like calendar links and things like that do not have a domain connected, it's going to default to your agency domain. Okay, but of course it can't be any of these others, so we want to call this link.myvisionagency. Now you can call these anything that you want to. Okay, you could call this kittycats.myvisionagency.com. It's totally up to you, whatever you want to make it. I just want to give you an example and show you what I did when I was setting up my agency. Okay, now the next thing is the agency sending domain. This is not an email address. Okay, this is what is going to be sent out anytime a user gets their login credentials, or maybe they forgot a password. That is the sending domain that the email is going to be sent from. Okay, now same thing for the sub account sending domain, and this is your agency sub account that you manage all of your your business on, right? And this needs to be a different subdomain of your main root domain, because you definitely don't want to, this is more of a housekeeping domain. And this is what you're going to actually do your marketing from. So the last thing you'd want to do is, by any chance you burn this domain, it gets blacklisted. And now every time someone goes to reset their password, they're not getting their emails. Okay. So we want to make these separate. All right. Now you can call these anything you want to, info.myvisionagency, or some people use contact, or some people use, MG for mailgun. Whatever you want to make this, it's totally up to you, but I do prefer something short. Okay. And then we also have the sub account membership area. Okay. Now, HighLevel, they call theirs university. So it's university.gohighlevel.com. For me, I call it training.myvisionagency.com. Some people choose membership dot whatever your domain is. Totally up to you, whatever you want that to be. But again, it's important to think about those things before you actually choose them. It's a lot easier to set it up how you want it than it is to go back and fix things. Okay. And then, of course, we're going to create a professional email address, because we need a way for people to contact us, and also for us to get logged into our account as our user, and lots of things, right? You need to have a professional email domain for that. Okay. And I do see that Ray is joining us from Corpus Christi, Texas, and Maria is joining us. I see someone on Facebook. I'm not hearing volume. Checked all things. I see that my volume is working, so it has to be something on your end. So I would look into that as well. Okay. Plus, I know that Maria and Ray would definitely tell me if they could not hear. Okay. So let's actually dive into the HighLevel account here. And let me just pull this up. Okay, so this is our agency account. Now, remember from our training yesterday, we did an overview of this. And remember, I said that I needed to connect the Stripe account. Okay, and you can see that I actually did that. I connected the Stripe account to the agency. And you will see that, and we can verify that by going into the settings of our agency account. And you will see that it is connected to my test account. Okay, now the next thing before you do anything else, you want to go into your sub account, the account that we are managing all of our agency from, and you want to go to the settings there, and you can go to integrations, and you can connect your Stripe account here. Okay, now you will see that it says disconnect, so that means it is connected. You can also connect your PayPal to your sub account for any products and things like that, but you cannot connect PayPal to your agency. Okay, so just to clarify that, that may come in the future. We're definitely getting other payment gateways that you can use as well. Okay, but Stripe, it's important to connect the same Stripe account here inside of your agency sub account to your actual agency, because that is how the system, if you're on the SaaS plan, that's how the system is going to know what your main agency account is. Okay, it's going to connect it from the Stripe ID. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so now let's go back into our agency account. This is the agency admin account, and you can see here that we only have one sub account inside of our agency account here. And the first thing that we want to do is let's actually go into Bluehost. Okay, now Bluehost is what I use to manage my domains and my email addresses. The reason I like Bluehost is it's fairly inexpensive, especially if you are, an agency. You want the ability to create unlimited professional email addresses. You can actually do that. All you need to do is choose one of these plans. It's actually a hosting plan, but I don't host any websites there. You can choose whatever plan works best for you, but really at the end of the day, it's like $160 a year, and I can create unlimited professional email addresses, and I can connect unlimited domains. So that alone to me is worth it. Okay, so I'm not an affiliate of Bluehost, so I have no reason other than the fact that it's the best solution to tell you. But you can use any registrar you want: GoDaddy, Google, Cloudflare, whatever you want. It's going to be basically the same process, just a little bit different. Okay. So let's actually click here, and you can see to purchase a domain, and let's just say that I wanted to do test.com, and you would be able to see here by choosing that domain what is available. Okay, and I actually already purchased a domain because I knew that I was doing this live, and I didn't want to have to expose my credit card info and waste time. But you will see that you can, if the domain's available, you can just go ahead and go through the purchase process. Let's just say that I wanted this domain. This one I'm sure is available. So you can choose to add to your cart and then go through the cart process. It's pretty straightforward. You may want to choose 1 year just to test it out there, because that will default there. And you may want to not select this. It's actually free for 30 days, but it's up to you whether you want to, have it private or not. I never choose this, but again, it's totally up to you. So you can just delete that from your cart and then go to the checkout. Okay, and then you'll enter your payment details, and then you will purchase your domain, and it'll tell you there what the cost is. All right. Now, once you've purchased your domain, the system wants you to park or assign the domain. Okay, so I'm going to go to my domains here. And you will see that some of them say add-on or parked. This is my primary domain, and you'll see that your new domain, it will actually prompt you before you ever escape that ending screen. But I wanted to explain to you kind of what it means, because the next thing that we're going to do is create our professional email address, and it does need to be assigned before you can do that. Okay, so what you want to do is, however you need to reach it, or if you are on that ending screen where it asks you to assign, you want to just click there to assign, and then basically what you're choosing is your directory. Okay. Okay, so if I was choosing this one, I could choose whether to make it an add-on, parked, but I cannot use this because to create that professional email address, it does need to be assigned. Okay, so it does tell you the difference here. An add-on domain is a domain name that points to a different subdirectory on your account. This gives you the ability to make it look like an entirely different website. Or a parked domain or pointed domain is a domain name that points to the same directory as your primary domain. This means that the website of the parked domain will be the same as, and this is my primary domain here. Okay, so you decide how you want to do that. So you just select add-on or parked, and then you can assign the domain. Okay, so as long as that's assigned, that's all you have to do. So let's go to email and office now that that is assigned, and we're going to create a professional email address. Now remember, it's different from a sending email. Okay, so it's not going to be the email at or the office at. We're going to create the info at. Okay, so this is where I'm going to be able to send and receive emails from info@myvisionagency.com. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Let's get logged back in here, and I'm going to go to manage. And inside of here, I'm going to click create, and I'm going to choose the domain that I want my email address to be made from. And I already purchased it, and it is myvisioncrm.com. And so I'm just going to choose from the drop-down list here. And then now I need to create the front part of my domain. Okay, so I'm just going to say info. And then now I can choose my password. So let's just choose my default here. Okay, and then I'm going to click create. All right, so now that's all I needed to do to actually create that professional email address. Now, if I want to check this, okay, I can go to info@myvisioncrm, and I can click here to check my email. Okay, now this opens up in the webmail, and it looks like every other webmail, right? I can click here to open, and then check all of the emails. You can see that I already got an email in here. All right, now, there are a few things that you can do, so let's quickly go through that. The first thing that you probably want to do is configure the mail client. All right. Now you can connect this professional email address to your Google account. You can connect it to anything that you want to. And here is the SMTP information here. Now, technically, I could connect this to my HighLevel account using just this information here, okay? And that's actually super easy to do. If I go into the sub account, and then I go into the SMTP, and I can just add that information here. So we'll go to email services, and then I could click here to add a service, and let's just say other, and then I would just enter literally Bluehost. I would add that SMTP provider right here, SMTP right here. And then I would, let me go back here. And then, so I would add the port number and then my username, and this tells you step by step. Let me close out of this. So it tells you the username, and of course the password is what we just created. And then you're going to enter in this info. Okay. Now the downfall to that is you really have no control over delivery. If you plan on sending, basically as a good rule of thumb, if you plan on sending more than 100 emails a day, you don't want to use this option, okay? You want to use the lead connector option. That's what I'd recommend you using anyway, okay? I do see that Todd says, hey, from Facebook. Ray says, volume is good. Janai says, hello, hello, hello. Someone on Facebook says, note to rewatch. Great content. Awesome. Glad to help. Okay. So while you could do this, I do not recommend using this option. Okay. So we are going to go for the lead connector option. Okay. So instead of using this, we're going to use the lead connector, but we need to create our dedicated domains. Okay. So let's go back to the agency view. Let's pull up our little document here. And really now we've created our professional email address. Okay. Now we haven't really done anything with it yet. Right now we can just go to the webmail and, we could send ourselves a professional, or we could send ourselves an email, once it's propagated. I usually wait a day to do all that and test that. But we can get all of these other things set up while we wait. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create the link for our agency dashboard. This is what we're going to give people to log in to the actual dashboard once we create their user account. Okay, so let's go back into our agency account, and we're going to go into the settings, and we're going to go to company, and you see here that it says white label domain. Okay, so if we click here, it actually does give us step-by-step instructions to tell us what to do. So we're adding a CNAME, and then we're going to point it here. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to go back to Bluehost, and we're going to go to our domain name. You know, you can see that it's added on here. We're going to click manage. No matter what registrar you're using, there's going to be somewhere within the domain where it's going to allow you to manage the DNS. Okay, so that's where you want to go. Now, the only thing that we've done with this domain so far is we just purchased that professional email address. Okay. So what we want to do now is we want to follow the instructions that it says, and we want to create a CNAME pointing here. Okay, so let's go back in here. We're going to go to CNAME, and I'm going to click here, and we're going to create the host record, which is app. Okay, so this is going to be whatever you want it to be called, and then we're going to paste that that little code that it gave us, and then we can choose the time here, and then save. Okay, so now that's all we needed to do. Okay, so that part is set up, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our domain here. So it's going to be app.myvisioncrm.com. Okay, now the next thing that we want to do is the API domain. That is the one that's going to have all of the links. Okay, so if you click here, it gives you the instructions, and it says make sure to have a CNAME record pointing to this code right here. So I'm just going to copy that. And then we're going to go back to Bluehost, and we're going to create a CNAME record. And remember, we said we're going to call this one link. And then I'm going to paste that in here. And if it says in proper format, there's usually a space. So just go ahead and delete that. And then we're going to choose just 4 hours and save. Okay. So now that part is done, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to put in here and link.myvisioncrm.com. Okay, so now we also have privacy policy and terms and conditions. And if you are one of my affiliates, we do have templates for this, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just worrying right now about getting the account set up. Okay, so it says white label domain must have a full URL. Okay, so we need to take out this here. That's what it was telling us. We're going to take these out, and then we're going to update. Okay, so it's going to update that for us. Just make sure that it's updated. Okay, so we're good to go. All right, so now the next thing, let's go back to our little cheat sheet here. So we have created now the agency dashboard. We've created the link here for our API. Now we need the agency sending domain. Okay, this is usually what throws people for a loop, but it's literally just copying and pasting. So now we're going to go to email services. And now we need to create a dedicated sending domain. Okay, so here is our default provider. If we wanted to use advanced features and we wanted to connect our own Mailgun or any other service, just like I showed you before, you could choose that here. But we're actually just going to use the lead connector system, so that HighLevel takes care of all of those things for us. Okay, so I'm just going to click there. We're going to add a domain. Now, what do we want our agency sending domain to be called? Okay, so let's look at our little list here. Agency sending domain, we're going to call that email. This says My Vision Agency, but we're going to use our new domain. So let's go to here, and we're going to say email.myvisioncrm.com. Okay, so we're going to type in what we want it to be, and then we're going to click add and verify. Okay, so now we have all of these records that we just need to copy and paste. Okay, so we need a TXT record. Here's our host name. Here is the values, and we can actually just get that by copying. Okay, so let's go back to Bluehost now. And if you see here, it says TXT record. So let's go to Bluehost, and oops, let me X out of this. We want to add a TXT record. So just scroll down till you see TXT, and then we're going to click here, and then we are going to add our record according. So we have the host name here, so I'm just going to copy that, and we're going to paste that, into the field. And remember, if it says improper format, it's probably just a space. We want to grab that TXT record. We can copy like this, or we can click the copy button there. I'm going to paste that value in there, and let's go ahead and choose 4 hours and save. Okay, so we have our first record already added. So now we need another TXT record, and this is going to be the host name. So I'm just going to copy. Let's go back to Bluehost, add a TXT record. Here's our host name, and let's go ahead and grab the value. So I'm going to copy all that and Control C, and we're going to paste that there, and we're going to choose 4 hours and save. Okay, let's go back here. Now we have a CNAME, and this is what it wants us to put in the host name. So we're going to go back here and let's scroll up to where we see CNAME. Here we go. And let's go ahead and add the record. I'm going to paste that there. And then we're going to grab this value and we're going to paste that there. And then let's go ahead and choose 4 hours and save. Okay, so now let's go back here. Now we have an MX record. It has a priority of 10. Here is the host name, so we're going to copy that. Let's go back here, and it says MX record. So let's scroll down till we see the MX record, and we're going to click here, and this is priority 10. And we're going to paste our host record, and then it says points to. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to make that the value. Make sure to delete the space. There we go. And let's make this 4 hours and save. Now we're going to go back here, and you'll see we have one MX record left. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to go back to MX record, and it says priority 10. So we're going to make this 0 a 10. And then we're going to paste, and then we're going to do the points to, which is this record here. And we are going to paste, and then we're going to choose 4 hours and save. Okay. So now that all of those records are entered, we need to click verify domain. Now it may not verify right away, and that's okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit, for propagation and all of those things. We just entered the records. So you can see some of them are being verified now. If you use Cloudflare, it does usually happen much faster, but this really isn't that long of a process to just go ahead and continue trying to verify. Okay, but we don't need to wait for that. Okay, what we can do is go back here, and of course we don't have that verified yet, but we can start doing our agency, the sub account yet. Okay, if we need to come back here, we can just click verify again, and then it will try to look for those records again. Okay, so basically you just want to keep doing this until all of these are green, and then when that is green, you'll be able to see your records here. Okay, so it'll be updated and it'll allow you to do that. So let's go ahead and let's go into now, because if we look at our little cheat sheet here, we've done everything inside the agency. Okay, we've set up our agency sending domain, we have set up our agency API and the agency dashboard. Okay, and we've created our professional email address. So we are just trucking right along. Okay, let's go ahead and try this again. So verify domain. Okay, so it's being finicky, but we'll come back to that. Okay, so I'm sure we'll just give it some time. So let's now go inside of our sub account here. Wait, before we do that, I did want to explain something else that we need is a phone number, but we need to have credits to the account and all of that. So if you go to settings, you'll see here, and we talked about this yesterday, using Lead Connector or Twilio. So just make sure that when you have your agency sub account and you want it to be managed by Lead Connector, that you make sure that this says managed by Lead Connector system. Okay, because when you do add funds to your agency wallet and to your sub account wallet, then everything will be going through the Lead Connector system. Okay, so let's go into our agency sub account now that we manage our account. And what we want to do is we want to create we want to add our agency website, and we also want to add the sending domain. And let's go ahead and do the membership area as well. Okay, so let's go back here, and we want to go to settings, and we're basically going to do the same thing with our subdomain. Okay, or our sub account. So let's go ahead and add dedicated domain, and let's go ahead and add there. And for this one, remember we talked about, we're going to call this, the sub account sending domain is going to be office. Okay, so let's go back here. We're going to type in office. .myvisioncrm.com. And we're going to go ahead and add and verify, and then it's going to give us the records that we need to add. Okay, so same thing, we are going to add a TXT record. So let's go to Bluehost now, and we're in the same domain. Okay, remember everything is in the same domain. So we're going to go to TXT record, and we're going to click here to add a record. There we go. And now we need to add the value. So let's go back here, and we're going to add the value and 4 hours and save. The next thing, we have a TXT record. So let's create another TXT record, and this is going to be the host. And then we need to add this value here and paste. And then let's see, choose 4 hours and save. The next thing, we have a CNAME. Okay, so we're going to go back here, and let's go ahead and add, scroll up to see the CNAME, and we're going to paste here. And then we need to add this value. So we're going to copy, go back here and paste the value. We're going to create 4 hours. Now the next thing here is we have our MX record. So let's go scroll down to the MX records. Let's go ahead and add there. And then we have Office, and then priority 10. So let's go ahead and change this to 10 and paste. And then we want to point here for the value, paste. And then the next one is going to be an MX record. Oops, let's choose this. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. So let's add another MX record, and this one is going to be priority 10 as well. And we are going to paste Office CRM, and then we're going to point the value here, and let's get rid of that space. And 4 hours. Okay. So now, same thing, we want to keep clicking verify until it has recognized all of the records. And since this is a brand new domain, we've done a lot to it. It could take a few minutes, but like I said, we don't need to wait for this. We can move on. Okay. So now we have our agency dashboard, we have the agency API, the agency sending domain, and we have added our sub-account sending domain. Okay, now we need to go to the membership area, and we're going to go ahead and add our training domain there as well. Okay, oops, here we go. So let's go in now. Let's try this again. Okay, so it's going to be finicky, so we'll just come back to that. So let's go to sites here, and you'll see memberships and then settings. And remember, this is going to be for our main membership area. So this is going to be where our members are going to log in to the same link every single time. But we are going to decide based on offers what products they have access to. Okay, so really it should just one domain that everyone, regardless of what products they have access to, they're all logging into the same domain. That's why we want to go ahead and create a custom domain. And it says here, CNAME record pointing to this. Okay, so let's go back to Bluehost now. We're going to create a CNAME record. I'm going to go ahead and click here. And remember, we called this training. Okay, so whatever you want to call it, university, membership, whatever you want it to say, we're going to put that there. We're going to go ahead and paste that code there for the membership area, and then we're going to go ahead and save. Okay. So once all of this has propagated, everything will be connected. Okay, so if we do training.myvisioncrm.com and then save, of course, it's not recognizing it yet, but once we would save, then everything will propagate. Okay, so that is really the gist of how you want to get your HighLevel account set up. Okay, so that is all of the domains and all of the CNAMEs except for your main agency website. So let's go into the settings here and let's go into domains. And there are actually two things that you need to add. Okay. So remember, we're using the main root domain, okay, for our website. So this is actually an A record. So I'm going to choose myvisioncrm.com. And as I type that in there, you'll see that it actually auto populates this info. All right. So we can change this A record. Okay, we're going to create an A record now, and it's going to be added here. Okay, so let's go back to Bluehost, and let's go up to the A record. And there's actually already an A record here, and you can tell by the little @ symbol. So let's go ahead and just edit this. All right, so that is the root domain, and now we're going to paste where we want it to point to. Now, if there wasn't an @ symbol, we could also just type in this. Okay, so the @ symbol and the root domain are the same thing. So we're just going to click save now. Okay, so now we have that. The A record is pointed where we want it to go. But now we need to add a CNAME record for the WW. And you see that there's actually already a WW here. So we're going to click here. We're going to edit this, okay? And then we are going to add, so if we click here, we're going to add our main domain. And if it's propagated and picked it all up, then it's going to recognize it and it's going to ask us what website we want to connect to, okay? But it's not propagated yet. So if it was propagated, then all we would have to do is just type that in and click add, and then it would recognize. For the www though, this is what really kind of throws everyone. You need to create a CNAME, okay? And you can see here that when you type in the www, it says CNAME record pointing here for www, okay? So what we want to do is copy this. And we're going to go back here, and then we are just going to override this, and it's already on 4 hours, and then we're going to save, okay? Now, the only thing left, and we talked about the credit system, okay? So let's see if it's, okay, so it has picked this up. We're not going to connect it to a domain yet, but the myvisioncrm.com should also do the same thing. Okay, so it's not going to yet. All right, so that is how you want to connect both domains. Okay, so if everything was propagated, it would show there. If you have any issues at all, you can contact me. Definitely share a video or something like that. But I would really wait until maybe the next day before you start panicking because of the propagation. You could always go to what's my DNS, and you can actually click here, and then you can type in myvisioncrm.com and choose the record. Actually, let's put that there. Choose the record that you want to check, and then click search, and then it will tell you what it's pointing to, okay, what the record actually is. So you can see it's not entirely propagated, but that's a little tool that you can use. It is free. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to explain to you is the credit system, just in case you don't understand. I do have this graphic here, okay? So the way that it all works is the HighLevel credit system for Lead Connector, all right? So what you want to do is, as the HighLevel agency owner, you want to keep your wallet funded, okay? Now, when I say keep your wallet funded, this is going to be inside of your agency account. You're going to go to your settings, and you will see billing, and you can see down here that there's actually $0 in your wallet, and you will need to add funds to your wallet. Okay, now HighLevel gives you the first 100 credits for free, so that you can do all of your testing and all of that. But for your clients to utilize the rebilling feature, there needs to be funds in the wallet, because that's where it will come from, and then you will pay HighLevel. Okay, so inside of your agency account, you can actually go into, actually, let's get in there before I explain it to you. Inside your agency account, you can go into where it says profile. Where's your staff? Let me find it in here. Business. Oh, it's here. inside the agency view, if you go in from here and you click to manage client, you can actually manage their wallet here as well. Okay, now this isn't a SaaS member. There's no wallet connected. And if we did want to make this a SaaS member, you could see here that what we would need to do is click here, switch to SaaS, and then we could actually, and this is not just for us, it could be for any client that we want to switch to SaaS. So we would just need to click here and then actually create a user, because there's no user on the account. It would allow you to send a email or a link or something like that to your client to have them store a payment method on file, but it does need to be the SaaS. It does need to be on the SaaS plan to utilize those credit features. Okay, so now let's actually go in here. Or actually, I wanted to show you where you can add complimentary credits. Okay, so let's go in here and then manage client. And if we did add a SaaS, let's toggle this on to SaaS, and you'll see that it's wanting to request. And then down here, once you do that, it's not going to show because we don't have a live Stripe account. But once you do that, it will say, it'll show the credits here, and it will allow you to add complimentary credits. Okay, so that's going to come from your main agency wallet every time you add complimentary credits. Okay, so just understand there's lots of training on all of that, and it will take a little practice and trial and error for you to, completely understand that process. Okay, so really, you guys, this is all that you need to do to get the agency set up. Now, tomorrow I am going to be streaming the webinar that I am doing later today with Sean Clark, who is the CEO and co-founder of HighLevel, as well as Monday, we're going to talk more about, actually getting the snapshot loaded and getting everything connected so that you can actually start using your HighLevel system. Okay, so thank you all so much for joining me. I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Before you go, if you have questions, join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. See you there.